So here are section 2, day 2 notes. This is example number 1. So we are going to write the equation of the function graph below. Notice we are going to write the absolute value equation. Now what we need to do first is think about, well, what is the general form of an absolute value function? That is y equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. Now what I would like you to do is go ahead and pause this video to try it out. Now if you get stuck anywhere, that's when you can start watching it and figure out how to do this. So go ahead, pause the video, and try to write the equation for this function. Okay, hopefully you paused it and you tried it on your own. If you got stuck somewhere, let's see if we can help you out. So here we are given 2 points. We have -2, 3, and then 0, -3. What I always like to do first is to determine if the graph is opening up or down. This will allow us to know if our a value is going to be positive or negative. Well, if we look here, it looks like that our graph is opening down. Okay, so that means we are going to have a negative a value. So now what we're going to do is find that a value. Well, the a value is basically our slope. Okay. Now, if you had a grid where there was lines, all you would have to do to figure out slope is count. So that's usually easier. But here, we're not really able to do that. So what we have to do is use the slope formula to find that. So remember, our slope formula is our difference of the y value, so y sub 2 minus y sub 1, over the difference of our x value, so x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now here it does not really matter which one's your y1 and your y2 and your x1 and x2. So I'm just going to pick this. So I'm going to say -2 is my x1, and then 3 is my y1, and then 0 is my x2, and then -3 is my y2. So now what I'm going to do is plug it into this formula to figure out the slope. So here I have -3 minus another 3. And then that's all over 0 minus a -2. Now remember, when we have minus a negative, we make that positive. So that becomes 0 plus 2. Now doing this, we get -6 on the top over +2. And then we get -3. Now remember, we already said that our slope was going to, or that our graph opens down, so we're going to have a negative in front of our a. So let's go ahead, we're going to write this next. So writing our equation, we have y equals, you should always have that, and we have a negative. The reason we have a negative is because our graph opens down, and then even though the slope, which we got is a -3, we just place 3. So now what we have to do after we found our slope is now find the vertex, because that's what's going to go into our h and our k value. Now remember, that is the single point that's either the highest or lowest. If we look here, it seems that -2, 3 is our vertex. Okay, so what we need to do is place -2 in our k value and 3 as our, -2 as our h value and 3 as our k. Now, remember, we do the opposite of what we see. So we see -2 as our h. That means it becomes +2 in the equation. And k is exactly as you see it. So since we see a +3, we put a +3. So now that means here that our equation for this absolute value function is y equals -3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 plus 3. And then this would be your final answer here. Make sure if you have any questions on how to write the absolute value equation given a graph, that you come in before or after school, or make sure you ask questions in class.